I have given a name to my pain. The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham.
You don't really think you'll win, do you? I'm Batman.
You are now listening to episode 102 of the Batman on Film podcast. My name is Justin Kowalski, one of the Batman on Film roundtablers. Bill Ramey has the night off, and I think Rick Shue is sleeping one off, and Ryan Haas is just off, man. I don't know. That guy is down for the count, but it is okay. I am not alone here in the Batman on Film Batcave. With me today, returning to the show, first time with me, is Mr. Pete Verra. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing awesome, man. It's great to be back.
Yeah, and you know, this is great because we're doing a comic book focused show, and Pete reviews Detective for Batman on Film. So it's good to have you here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, all the way from
New Jersey.
Jersey. Hey,
Coast to coast.
Coast to coast. Me on SoCal and you in Jersey. But that's not all, friends. For the first time on the Batman on Film podcast, we have Ryan Lauer. How are you doing, dude?
Hey, Justin. I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. This is good because, again, Ryan reviews comics on Batman on Film as well, and he's currently doing some of the specials like Batman Metal, Batman White Knight, and then what else? Doomsday Clock. Yeah. So it's cool. So we're gonna have a good conversation. It's gonna be fun. We're just gonna talk about all the Batman comics that have been coming out in 2017 and kind of do like a final thought and the recommendations and anything else that comes up. So it's gonna be a good show. But before we get going, Batman on Film, and jump in if you can.
Authoritative.
Definitive.
The Dadgum Original.
The Dadgum Original. All right.
Bad boys.
I laugh every time that I hear them say that because I had a football coach in high school who he couldn't speak clearly and he always said Dadgum and he's like, Dadgum! Dadgum!
I'm wearing that
every
sweatshirt
time
right
they
now.
say that. I lose it.
The Dadgum. Yeah, so we're here to kick it off. So 2017, continuing Rebirth, which was going on, started in late 2016, correct? And
yeah.
So we're
about mid 2016, I think.
Was it mid 2016?
Yeah.
So it kept going. It just actually ended, which I'm glad. I just not like I'm against Rebirth. I love Rebirth. I just hate the trade dressing on the front of the books. I just didn't like how it looked.
That little curtain.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it I didn't like, but I'm really digging the new cover dressing they have on the books. Minus the Batman. Really, minus the Batman logo. I don't like that. I just don't
isn't
like
it.
it.
Like that's the new 52 logo, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a holdover.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like, anyways, it was we did it on Twitter last week. A lot of us were talking about it. And then I made just a really quick Photoshop of they should just throw the old 70s logo back on there. That thing was cool. The one that just said Batman in not the Adam West one, but basically on 70s Neil Adams comics, it had Batman done up in inside the logo. And I even tweeted it out to Tom King. I was like, "Come on, man, make this happen. You have the power."
Speaking of that, you know what else is really weird is on all the Nightwing books, there's always a bat logo behind Nightwing, and that just looks weird to me because he's not like Batman, you know.
Well, they used to tie them all together. It used to be on the old Chuck Dixon run was just kind of a Nightwing logo, his mask or something.
It's not the bat.
Yeah,
it's a weird thing.
You know, Batman sells. Someone might people may not know. They're like, "Oh man, is Nightwing a Batman character?"
Well, back to this new banner look. I think Scott Snyder said that it's kind of previewing what's to come, but I never really looked into that. Did you guys come across any of that?
I haven't. No, I just always took it as just more traditional.
I'm sorry, I totally missed that. What was that?
He Scott Snyder, I thought had put out when they first released that they were losing that Rebirth banner and the new look that was coming to the books. He said it was a sign of what's to come. I think in 2018. I never looked any further into that of if there were any hints or what. I just figured it's time to change looks.
Yeah. I don't think it's a storyline change, meaning like we're going to move away from Rebirth. I think Rebirth was a huge success for them. Like, especially coming out of the New 52, I think what Rebirth did was really draw back fans that were missing out on some of the legacy stuff. And I think the stories have just been better, to be honest.
I agree.
I don't think
especially
all
Superman in Rebirth, much better.
Exactly. Now I will tell you this. We're not going to talk too much about Superman, but Superman has been just a great title. Like I've read a little bit of action, but Superman is the one I've stuck with the most, and that book is consistently good. It had a dip the last few months. The team kind of took a break, but they're back on with this. They just did this like this like little 4-part, apocalypse situation. But yeah, I really feel that Rebirth has been great. I'm just digging most of the stuff I'm reading from DC that's been coming out. So, all right, guys. So let's just jump right into these books. I want to start off with our, just the two established books. We'll talk about Batman and we'll talk about Detective. Anybody reading? I don't know if Super Sons is going to count because it's got Damian in it, so we can talk about it a little bit if anyone wants to, and then we can also talk about All-Star Batman, which I have not been reading. I don't know if anyone's been reading All-Star Batman.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I've been reading it.
All right, so you guys are better Bat fans than me. I've been sticking just to Batman, and then some of the. I get Detective every now and then. I'm like, but
I really
get into
like
that
Detective.
too.
I know I review it, but I really do like it.
Nice. All right, so let's just jump into Batman. Tom King's Batman. That has been, in my opinion, one of the best books out there, dude. I there's not a single issue that I'm like, this is terrible. Like I've been loving it. Especially in 2017. Now, Night of the Monster Men. We won't talk about that. He didn't do that, but
that's definitely the weakest little title in his run.
Yeah,
I feel
so. Yeah,
I Am Bane. I think was really strong.
Yeah,
that started out and I think it started out in like December 16, but carried on in 17, and it just established Bane and Catwoman and everything, and kind of in the Rebirth realm, and it really hit in all cylinders. I feel.
Yeah, and he definitely has. Especially, I noticed it in I Am Bane. He definitely has this like poetic way of writing. And with repetition, which a lot of people didn't like it, but I did. I like Batman was like, I am going to break your damn back, and it was like this repetitive, like, over and over and over, and people kind of complained about it. And I'm like, you don't understand what he's doing. Like, I really felt like it was this Batman was like convincing himself, and also it was kind of like the mantra of his mission, and to go up against Bane. It was like, for me, I took it as he's just psyching himself up. And
yeah, I agree.
I really liked what he was doing. I liked there was a lot of hidden stuff in there, especially when they started off in Arkham. Like, you saw like Saturn Girl in there and just a bunch of weird stuff that still hasn't been paid off yet, which I like.
I really enjoy how he writes Alfred, because I feel like Alfred every once in a while has these dry zingers, and I think he nails him perfectly, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just think he nails every character that he's writing, man. Like, I don't have a complaint, and I love his Batman and Catwoman stuff. The Bat and Cat.
I didn't think I would get invested in that, but I'm really all in it right now. Like I actually I love and approve that relationship. I thought I was totally gonna be like, this is just ridiculous. Batman's not gonna marry Catwoman, but it works.
Yeah, man, I'm kind of digging it. It's the opposite of what New 52 was all about.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, New 52 was like, no one's gonna get married, everyone's gonna be this and that.
They're also young.
Yeah, and with Rebirth, what I like is I do want Batman to have a different story, and I don't mind him getting married or whatever. What I don't want to happen is we're gonna break it up and Catwoman's gonna rob him, or this type of. It would be really cool for this to continue on.
It doesn't seem like they're going to break it up, though, because if you look at like Batman 36, like it's almost like a look into the future at the end of that book, and they're still together.
Oh, wait, you mean Batman Annual 2, or
was it? Am I getting them mixed up again?
You might be.
Yeah, the Annual 2. I'm sorry, 36 was the Superman.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
jump into that real quick. Ryan, have you been reading any of the Batman stuff?
Yeah, I'm up to date. I think Tom King's Batman is my top of the pile. That's the one that I just give me. And it is the first one that I read, except for when another book comes out, but we'll talk about that one later. But as far as every other week, man, Tom King, he can bring it. And I really enjoyed the way that he started off the run, especially with David Finch doing the art, which I thought was pretty incredible. The story was good. It was not great. And I thought that for me, I think it was called Rooftops, the 2-parter with Catwoman.
Yeah.
That's when it really settled in for me that that's when I really just, it clicked. I felt like it really clicked with him too. And I feel like he's just nailed every issue since, especially focusing on the Bruce Wayne and Selina relationship and Bat-Cat and stuff. And especially recently the, what was it called? Rules of Engagement, the 3-parter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was just awesome.
Yeah. That one kind of came out of nowhere. I don't read a lot of previews or anything like that on the books. Sometimes I'll read a news item, like, something big when it's a big story that's coming up.
Yeah.
But this one kind of just popped out of nowhere on me. And everything on that book was fantastic, man. I mean...
Yeah, and I really loved the art. I don't think I'd ever seen anything from, I think it was Joel Jones. I've never seen anything by that. And I thought that was just another thing of, wow, this clicks, and this issue is great. And
all the artists on these books have been great too. Like there's never been a dip in the quality. Like you mentioned, David Finch, you have Joel Jones, Michael Yannon, who did the whole War of Jokes and Riddles.
That was drawn beautifully. Yes.
Oh man, like I love that guy's art. I mean,
and don't forget, we've got some really great Tim Sale variant covers on Batman, and those have been a real treasure.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm looking at Batman 10 right now, and it's just Batman in the background, and Catwoman's robbing a safe, and it's just like, it's perfect. Like, I mean, I love Sale since obviously Long Halloween, and this was just a real treat to finally get like covers by him, like in present day. Like I'm like, yes, just joyous.
And then this Clayman, oh man, dude,
he was good. I don't think I've ever seen anything by him, but he really took me by surprise. I was like, wow, this is good stuff.
Well, he did the Kite Man issues of War of Jokes and Riddles.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's where I kind of like found him, discovered him.
Yeah. But it's interesting, his art was different. It looked a lot different than the Batman 36 issue. It seemed like he was trying to mimic for consistency, I think for the consistency of the story, Michael Yannon's art a little bit. And so it was really nice to see his own style here on Batman 36. I think hands down, probably one of the prettiest books that's been in the Batman solo title since a long time. I love this book. I will go down and say, I think I enjoy it more than Scott Snyder's Batman run. I know that might be blasphemous to some, but I love it, dude.
Consistency's sake, I think I need just a little bit more, and I think I could agree with that too, because it's not. I think Snyder. I like that guy's work, and I think I've bought everything that he's done, but sometimes I feel like he can just get too complex just for complex sake, and King can almost. Not simplistic as if it's dumb. It's just it can be easier to follow. And it's like, this is what we're talking about. And you're seeing it, where I think Snyder sometimes is trying to weave too many things and juggle too many threads maybe at once to where I just get by the end. I'm like, wait, what? Where King, I can take it the first time. And I'm like, that was awesome. I want to read it again. And then I feel
like I like King's writing more, but Capullo's artwork is what I lean more towards when I talk about the Snyder run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any huge issues with Snyder. I think that run's great. I think it's
except for 0 Year. I don't like 0 Year.
Oh, I don't like 0 Year or Super Heavy.
Super Heavy, yeah.
Yeah, that Super Heavy part is silly.
Yeah, man, 0 Year really. I don't want dog on stuff from 2 years ago. I just did not like 0 Year.
I'm with you on that, man.
What's good is when Tom King came on, it was like, oh wow, this guy's going to draw Batman. Batman. I didn't think I was going to love it this much. Rarely do you have a run that's like, oh, they did a great run. And then somebody else comes on and just kills it as well. So it's good to have these like two bookend series almost. Of like, and Scott Snyder's run was great. People are never going to forget that. I loved his detective run where Nightwing was. Oh, that was like
so
the Black
good.
Mirror and all that stuff.
That was crazy.
That was like, this guy's going to write Batman. So it got you excited. And so when Tom King came on, I didn't really have any reference of what he's written.
I didn't either.
It was just this. And now I'm a Tom King fan. Like I've gone back and I've read his Vision stuff from Marvel. And
I heard
his
really
Mr.
good.
Miracle. Are you reading Mr. Miracle at all?
Yes.
I have them
Fantastic.
waiting for me to read. So I'm kind of hoping, especially knowing that it was a 12-month series.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I'm just going to get 6 or 7 just ready so I can just plow through it.
Yeah. I think 5 comes out this week. I don't know I think it's 5 or 6. I forget what's coming out. I could be completely off, but
see, I'm a huge Barda fan. So like, that's kind of why I'm reading Mr. Miracle. But now I'm like, oh man, this book's just awesome.
Oh yeah. It's huge.
I love Big Barda. And anything kind of like Kirby-ish and Apocalypse, I'm all for.
So quickly, Justin, quickly to go back to your Batman annual, the recent issue. I tried to summarize how like my face was in reading the book, in which it was cool emoji with sunglasses, worried look emoji, crying emoji, happy emoji, bawling emoji. I just thought that whole issue all the way through was just up and down in all the good ways. It was just, it was one of the best issues I've read this year. For sure. Yeah,
I would actually go and it was weird because Batman Annual 2 actually sold out everywhere from what I was trying to find it. And then people told me that, it got shipped all weird. So I just bought it digital, and because I was like, I got to read this because all I kept reading was Fantastic Book of the Year. Yeah. And I have to say it's like one of those stories that you can give. Like I'm thinking I can give this to my wife to read and she would be like kind of touched by it.
Yeah.
I can get you.
Yeah. It's got, I think it has all the feels, man. And I think, and I still don't want to spoil it because I feel like it's an annual. Not everyone's read it. Please go read Batman Annual 2. But what I will tell you, and this is, coming from me, it's not a surprise, but I feel like all my issues with the Batman relationship and the Dark Knight Rises, like this comic does it right. And like, you believe that they should be together. In that movie, I was like, it felt forced and like whatever. But in this, sorry, there's my Dark Knight Rises.
Always gets that Rises dig
I always get it in there. Hey,
even
but I feel
when
like
Ryan's not around, he's got to get that dig in.
I'll say it when they're here. So, but I just felt like, man, this got it right. And I mean, especially with everything like Tom King's been setting up, this did it right here. I'm like, this is how you do it. And it's why I don't want this thing to end. Like I want them to continue forward. I want the Batman Catwoman like relationship to move forward, almost similarly to how the old, Earth 2 stories were, where, they have a daughter and all that stuff. If that's going to happen, I don't know.
Do you have any expectation on when, like, is it going to end or somehow something's going to go bad? And if so, will that happen this year? Maybe next year?
I really hope not. I kind of want it to even come into like normalcy. Like, oh yeah, Catwoman's there and she's the wife now. And it's just,
it's unexplored
something
territory.
I don't want to see end. Yeah, it's new. It's almost like it doesn't like bog you down in the life of Batman. I think it gives him somebody else. It gives him a partner, like she says in 36. A partner. It also gives him just someone else to make him happy. Yeah, that was the thing. I loved Bruce being happy in Dark Knight Rises. I just didn't like how he got there. And so in here, I'm like, oh, I like that he can still be Batman. Who knows? He may not be Batman anymore. If you're reading, what was it? There was a comic where it had him in Superman talking about, hey, we both encountered our fathers somehow in a timeline. Things are messed up, and they were trying to discourage them from continuing being Batman. I mean, and Superman, and like someone's trying to stop us. I don't know where that was from or where I read that.
Action comic,
wasn't it part of the whole Dr. Oz thing?
Yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah, it might have been. I just don't know what issue. I don't think it was in.
It was sprinkled around in a few issues.
Oh, was it in Action?
Yeah, I think that might have been the last one. And Batman ended up at the fortress, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because and then he pulls his cowl off and they're talking and he wants him to realize how human he is.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So there you go. Like, I'm hoping that doesn't end up being a thrown away like situation. Like, I like the tension of like, hey, am I going to continue to do this? And obviously, we all want him to. I don't want to see Dick Grayson be Batman again. You know, I don't want this like Batman.
I've seen that way too many times, and I love Dick Grayson.
But because I do like it being someone's trying to stop us from being who we are. But I really am digging the direction of these books. And yeah, the best like 1-2 punch was Batman Annual 2, and then going right into Batman 36 which was probably another perfect comic book. That thing was great.
I feel like the best Bat books we've gotten have actually happened towards the end of this year.
Yeah.
With all the runs, Detective, Batman, White Knight. I mean, I feel like they all coincide at the end of the year.
Yeah. Batman
right. Laughs.
We're going to get there.
Yep.
Oh, man. So anybody, any more thoughts on the
we
Batman
haven't touched on the button.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let's talk about the button, because that could have been, I know Bill wasn't super pumped on that one. I mean, I think he mentioned it on the show. Mm-hmm. I like the button a lot. I feel like the Flash issues weren't as strong. But let's just talk about Batman, because this is Batman on film, not Flash on film.
That's
right.
Well, that's
not making an Ezra Miller Flash movie.
That's never going to happen.
Never happening.
I used to call it as a joke, I Am Button, just because all of the titles are I Am Gotham, I am Bane.
Yeah.
I was just calling it I Am Button.
It works.
So yeah, any thoughts on that book, on those few issues?
I kind of felt like it was a little underwhelming. Like, I was kind of expecting more out of it.
Yeah.
You know? I kind of wanted a little bit more explained. I felt like it was just a kind of a giant tease for what is actually coming in Doomsday Clock. You know, and I kind of almost felt like it was a preview of what's coming, in my opinion. I kind of, I don't really know if King was like, yeah, let's do this. This is what I want to do. He's kind of like, all right, I'll help you guys out here.
Yeah. No, I can see that. The button, I didn't feel like there was a big payoff on the button in that. And seeing Batman go into the time stream with Flash, for me, I don't care
dangling
too much.
by a fish line.
Yeah, it was just, all right, there you go. I mean, once you bring those characters in, you kind of have to throw
Suspend belief.
Yeah, and in the end, it was fine. It was a story. You know, it was a Batman and Flash.
One thing I do have a question on, and I feel like I haven't gotten an answer, was right before Rebirth, we got that 3 Joker thing in the Batcave, and I feel like that's just been like forgotten, and no one even mentions it anymore. And I'm just kind of like, I'm waiting. It's been a year.
Yeah, it's probably, maybe it's coming in Doomsday Clock. I don't know. Like, we had in Metal, we have Joker hiding out in the Batcave, like way below the depths, right?
Yeah, waiting for Duke Thomas and the Green Lantern. Yeah,
and that's probably Joker from what the heck was that Snyder story where he's
Endgame?
been down in the cave. What was it?
Now.
Yeah, was it Endgame? So,
yeah.
I thought he fell into the depths in Death of the Family. Wasn't he? Didn't he like?
He did.
Wasn't that the one? Okay, so I feel
like he died twice in the Snyder run.
Yeah, so there's Joker from there. Like, how did he get there? And so I haven't seen the other 2 Jokers yet that they've been talking about. And so I think that will be revealed probably in the next year. Because they did say when Rebirth started, this whole deal is going to be 3 years to get it done.
Okay, I don't remember that, but okay, cool.
And so we finished the first year. So we're kind of a year and a half in. We're starting Doomsday Clock. And so Doomsday Clock's going to be a year. So all stories have not been answered yet. And so
I kind of surprised that they would think that we would all remember, especially with how many books they have out, that we would remember stuff introduced back at the very, very beginning. It's like, oh, wait, what? What? Oh, yeah, that was way back then.
I remember that splash page. You're just like, okay, this is going to be really cool. And then there's just no payoff to it. And you're like, all right, you let me down.
Well, I think there's going to be a payoff. I don't know if the payoff is hit yet because again, we're just hitting into the Watchmen stuff.
Yeah.
And we're a year and a half in. And so, and then plus you got Metal and also there's crazy stuff that's going on. So I'm like, I definitely am eager for Metal to wrap up to see what the outcome of that is to continue on into Doomsday Clock and, the other Bat books. I don't know what's coming after this Super Friends arc. Again, I haven't been paying attention to what's coming in the future, but you know, it could be, you know, 3 months from now. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about the 3 Jokers now. There you go, Pete.
It's
So-
the next line. I am Joker. Tom King's going to do that.
Yeah, there you go. I am Joker.
That's the next story.
Yep.
I am Joker. You know, they'll be known as the I Am Run.
Yeah.
And it'll be good. So
That'll
All
be
right,
the cover of the omnibus. It'll just be I am.
yeah,
Yeah.
I am by Tom King.
Yep.
I am Tom
Tom King.
with
Got it.
artists. Yeah. The Tom King story. I am. All right, so let's move into detective. Pete, you're going to have to drive this ship, man, because I don't know a whole bunch about a detective. I'm going to ask more questions than
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to answer. So I'm handing it off to Pete now. You're driving the old school Batman subway train
Whoa.
that Harold made in the Batcave in the 90s comics. That's what,
I love Harold.
Oh, Harold.
He's
Oh.
a little Notre Dame of Gotham City.
yeah.
Yeah, no, Detective. I've really enjoyed Detective. It's a big team up book, so I know that turns some people off, but I enjoy seeing Batman with, Robin and Nightwing, and like ideally, like my ideal Bat team is Batman, Robin, and Nightwing, Batgirl. But like this is a little bit of a different team. You have Batwoman, Batwing, who's kind of like the tech genius, Clayface, who has been kind of transformed almost into like a Ben Grimm type character with Cassandra Cain, and they have a really strong relationship. And a lot of this book, I feel like, is not really about Batman, but the relationships of the other characters. And, there's a strong sense of that when Tim Drake goes missing, and then it kind of like disrupts the team a little bit because they have all these grand plans, and Spoiler then goes off rogue, and she's like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then you introduce Anarchy and the Victims of Gotham, I think, is a Victims Syndicate or something like that. And it's just really strong stuff, and Tynan just really gels it together. And personally, I think what he's really aced on this run has been, well, one, Batwoman, because she got her own title out of the book, which was awesome. And two, this is, in my opinion, the best version of Spoiler we've ever seen. And I go back to like the 90s when Robin Spoiler was like a big thing. And I really like how she's finally like headstrong. She's like, no, like I don't need Batman. I'm going to do this on my own. I don't even know if I want to do this. And then when Drake comes back, she's like, we can go away. We don't have to do this anymore. And it's really powerful stuff, in my opinion.
So I bought issue 969 a couple weeks back. It's like I think it's the beginning of the fall of the Batman story. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to have to paint some threads for me, because I just jumped in. I'm like, okay, I didn't really see Azrael in the book, but I saw him on the cover, and I was like, oh man, okay. I was just curious to pop in on Azrael. It sounds like Tim Drake. I remember him. I read issues right before he died. I think I bought 3 of those, or got sent to the Mr. Oz room or whatever. He was going to quit being Robin. He was going to go to college, and now in this one, he's back. He doesn't want to go to college. He's more like just going to do the Robin thing. So there's a little bit of tension there. It sounds like, because Batwoman's like, you got the homegirl know what's going on with your life.
No, he's definitely kind of like making it up as he goes along, because in Dr. Oz's prison, he meets his future self, which ties into Lonely Place of Living and that whole story. And he kind of realizes that Batman needs Robin, and he set up this whole like operation within the Belfry, and he basically kind of got zapped out by the colony, which is the weakest part of Detective, in my opinion. Okay. And now that he's back, and Stephanie wants him to, like, I just feel like Tim just does the opposite of whatever anybody else says, and stuff. He's like, we can go, we can do this. We don't have to be a part of this. We can start our lives. And Tim's like, no, I need this. I need to prevent myself from becoming this gun carrying Batman who wants to kill Batwoman. And that's kind of a thing now. He's like, well, what is the problem? Like, what did Batwoman do that makes you want to come back in time to just kind of like, give her the axe?
Yeah. So that's tying in the old Titans of Tomorrow story. I remember that from the Jeff Johns run back in the early 2000s. So they're bringing all those characters back, because I know that there is a crossover coming up with, I think it's the Batman, Superman, and the Super Sons book, I think, in Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could be adding one or taking one away. And it's even got the Connor Kent version of Superman coming in.
Yeah. So. Because when Tim's in the prison, like for Dr. Oz, at one point Tim goes, "Who the hell's Connor?" And it's just kind of like there's a little bit of teases in there, and I think they really work because I'm like, oh man, like if he's starting to remember who Connor is, like he's remembering the other timeline, and I find that stuff interesting.
I loved Connor Kent, so it's just weird because if they do bring that character back, is it so we have two Superboys, or is he gonna have a different name? Is he gonna be like Red?
Well, I think it's kind of like Wally West, New 52, and Ginger Wally. I think it's kind of like that.
Yeah, which I wouldn't be opposed to. I loved the idea of a cloned Superboy from Superman and Lex Luthor. So, Ryan, are you reading Detective at all?
I am, and I think Pete nailed it in the fact of it being the team up book is kind of off putting, because that's kind of where. For me, it doesn't mesh as well. I don't have anywhere near the hype level for King's Batman run or some of the other Batman books when a new detective issue come out.
It's a big team.
I'll get to it eventually. And sometimes a whole book, you might get like one panel with Batman and then that's it. And I'm just, the other dynamic there, it'd be something else if Tim Drake, if he was the star and it was him throughout, but it's almost like it's just a bunch of supporting characters only. There's no lead. And I think that's kind of what just puts me off of it. And I'm not that invested in Batwing or Batwoman. The spoiler, I think she's great. And then I don't know why I can't for the life of me think of Cassandra Cain. What's her character? Orphan. She is great.
She had a whole run
and
too.
I think that Clayface has had some really great moments, because I think that was probably the big wild card with everybody. That first detective issue was like, what? Clayface? But he's been pretty enjoyable too. There's just something for me that's missing with there's no lead character, and Batman is he's not an afterthought at all. It's just he's not the one in front. And that just, if it's detective, like I want Batman. So
yeah, I don't mind that aspect so much. I think what they're trying to do with Detective is have it be story driven. Like, okay, so this story is really about Tim Drake coming back, and again, I haven't read all this. I'm just picking up from what I have read. It seems to be a teamwork deal. The last issues I remember reading, it was a lot of, Batwoman saying, "Hey, like, you need to trust us." I mean, that typical, like, you need to trust us, Batman. And he's like, "Oh, well, I don't trust anybody." But you have like 7 people running around with bat logos now. It's like you either trust them or cut them loose, But I think what this book is trying to do is be an avenue for, like, hey man, do people care about these characters, or did people care about these characters, but we don't have anywhere to put them, especially with like Batwing, and you get, you're not going to have a spoiler book anytime soon, but she's a good supporting character. I loved her in again. I
think coming out of this, you can do like a mini series, and I think it'll sell, because I really do think this is a very grounded version of her.
Oh, I like her. I loved Stephanie Brown as a character. I think her Batgirl was actually one of the best. And I'm unclear on if that history is still true or not. I'm not sure, like, where that fits in her timeline. Have they went back and said, "Oh yeah, she used to be Batgirl for a little bit"?
I don't think. No, there's no remnants of Stephanie Brown being Batgirl, Robin. There's like, none of that. I'm pretty sure it's just her dad. What was the
Clue Master?
Clue Master.
Clue Master.
That's played heavily into her story in this book and everything.
Yeah, man. Did you ever read any of that Batgirl run?
Bits and pieces, yeah, not all of it. I mean, I have to try to collect it in back issues now, but
yeah, it was a good run, man. I highly recommend that book. It was good. Spoiler was just one of those weird characters that came out of the 90s that just connected, man. It was fun. The Tim Drake spoiler stuff from the Chuck Dixon run was good. It was so good, and so if it could get back to those levels, I think I would be a little more invested in the book. I just can't right now. I just feel like every time I read it, I feel like I'm pushing myself through it, which is not the overall like vibe I get from other people. Like, you love it, and there's a lot of other people I read their reviews and they're loving it.
I just felt I was wrong.
I almost feel like the outsider.
Yeah, me too. I just felt like I was wrong. I'm like, I'm just missing something, because everybody loves this book and it's their favorite, and more power to them. It's something's just not resonating with me.
I just think it's just taste. Like, you know, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love solo Batman. I love Batman on his own, but there's something, like I said earlier, just about him working with other people, almost relying and seeing like, okay, well, what can you do? Do I have to put all this on my shoulders? Can I have a team? Can I kind of orchestrate this and mentor these young people? And that's kind of what I feel like Detective is all about, really. Like, it's almost like a mentor.
Tynion came out, the writer, for the first couple issues. It's almost like he had to use some examples where, like, for example, Kathy Kane, she deduced who Bruce was, you know, that he was actually Batman, as if like, aha, see, I'm smarter than you. And then some other situation where it was almost just these other people are smarter than Batman. And I'm like, don't you dare. You back off right there. Okay. Don't put Batman.
Yeah, that's been a common complaint. Yeah.
Empower these other people.
You watch out, Kathy
exactly.
Kane.
Because
it breaks Batman down to build up other characters.
Hold up, but aren't they cousins or something? Wasn't that the reveal?
Okay. His mother is related to Colonel Kane, who is the leader of the colony. And that's the one thing. The colony and Colony Prime is the one thing I've been critical about, because I'm just like, every time I see this stupid villain in the book, I'm like, oh, God, this is horrible. He's like this fake Red Hood thing. And it's just, you know, like Grant Morrison's Red Hood, where he's got like the, you know, this tactical suit and the pistols. Like, that's what it kind of reminds me of. I'm like, oh, no, stop, please. So,
oh, man.
But look, every book has its negatives.
Yeah, you're not selling me, brother.
Yeah, jump on, Justin.
I love the Bat family. I think this Bat family is just really packed. I mean, this is the Snickers bar of
no, it's a big
Bat
team.
families.
It really is. And there's certain parts where, you know, it's like Ryan said, like where Batman is almost not there, and it's more about Batwoman. And then there was a couple issues that were, you know, about, you know, Shiva and Orphan and Cassandra Cain and what's going on there. And he's there and he's in the book, but it is about the team. It is a book about the team and what the team encounters.
So,
and there's some really, go on.
No, keep going.
And there's just these, and I feel like there's these, with Cassandra and with Clayface, I feel like there's these really impactful emotional moments that really like levitate you. And you're just like, okay, like I care about these characters that I didn't care about before. You know, they're bringing them to the forefront.
Can I ask, did both of you?
I think they should pare it down.
As Justin, Pete, I know that you did. Justin, did you read the recent arc, probably the most hyped for the detective run this year of A Lonely Place of Living?
No, I didn't. I was like, I'm hoping for a sale in the future. I was going to pick it up that way. I just didn't care because I was like, I know Tim Drake's coming back, and I didn't care how. I don't know if it just wasn't enough for me to jump in, especially with like, you know, all these other books like Metal and stuff like that. Like I just, my dollars can only go so far, and I had to, you know, so it just, I knew he was coming back. I want him to come back. I just haven't heard anything yet where it was like, oh man, you got to be reading this, because I haven't been excited for a Tim Drake story since the Red Robin series. That was a great series. And part of me is like, oh, I wish he would just go back to.
And then the New 52 wasn't any good. I mean, in that weird feather suit. And that's
New
kind
52 was the worst. And they just botched his origin. So that's okay. That was one of my questions for you, Pete. Where's Tim Drake's origin? Is he still the OB man? That guy kill his parents, or is he still like on the run type of?
I don't really remember it too much from the New 52. If that was in like the Teen Titans, I wasn't reading those New 52 books.
Okay.
But
oh man, they botched his origin.
It doesn't seem. It seems kind of like they just went forward. I don't ever really remember them going backwards and talking about the origin of Tim Drake, but I do feel like Tynion has kind of done Tim Drake justice from what came in the New 52. And that's why, like, I found the book really enjoyable, because I'm like, this is a Tim Drake love letter, you know, and there's a lot of Stephanie involved in it too, which, like, if you've read my reviews, I'm like, 90s fans of Robin Spoiler are going to love this. Yeah. And it's kind of like they put a lot of fan service into the book to where you're like, yes, this is what I want, because they're like, well, that stuff didn't work.
You know what I need to do? Next time Detective comes out, I just need to like look at your face, because your reviews make me like want to read it, and I just need to remember like your enthusiasm, because having that like outlook can kind of push you into, you know, like, okay, is this so and so, my friend, he's pumped for it, I'm gonna go check this book out. When I grabbed this one, I think it was a small week for me, and I was intrigued by the cover. I'm like, oh, is that whatever his name is, Gilliam March cover. I'm gonna check this out because I was like, look at all these guys on this cover. It seemed like I want to find out what the heck's going on right here. And the cover did not pay off the inside for me. I was like, oh.
Isn't that usually with any book though? Let's be honest. Like you buy a book, it's like, and then it has nothing to do with what's going on inside.
Exactly. I was like, oh, well, this did not pay off. This is just a shot of everybody. It felt like they just had it like, oh, we have a shot of everybody we can throw on freaking cover of the book.
Maybe the next detective issue, you can just submit to Bill a V review where you just video your own review audibly and just be like, Justin, this is for you. Look at my face.
I'm going to take it with me.
I will do a Detective Comics review vlog.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, well, Bill has said he would love for us to do some of that stuff moving forward. So if you guys ever want to,
that's great. Cause then I don't really have to proofread that.
Yeah. I've got a cowl. I can wear a cowl.
You wear a cowl. You're all Batman reviews. Batman on Batman.
I am Batman.
I'm Ryan. I'm Batman. I'm Ryan.
Yeah. All right. Any more thoughts on Detective? I have another question, but I just wanted to see if you had any other things to
use
share
a
about
word
it.
from, I think it's Young Justice. I'm whelmed by it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the word that they use. That's where I am. I'm whelmed.
You're whelmed. That's good. Okay, so one of the standout stories this year was The Lonely Place of Living. And was there any other stories that were like, oh man, that was worth checking out?
I really enjoyed the story about Shiva and her relationship with Cassandra Cain, and there's some Ra's al Ghul in that, and there's some really cool stuff in that, and I think those two are the standouts, if I'm not mistaken. I have a pile here. So.
What about Azrael?
I see. I'm not a big Azrael fan,
neither.
but he did. There was a big payoff where we could see Asbats. He did make his return to the DCU for about an issue or two, and it was good. I actually did like this version that Tyna's done more. I mean, usually like Azrael comes on the pages and he just it's like Thor. He just talks funny and I get turned off. I'm just like, I don't want to read these funny words.
Amen.
But I really got into it in the whole Saint Dumas, the cult thing, and that was fun. And I did enjoy it.
So did he replace Batman in this timeline?
No, he didn't. He didn't replace Batman. I believe he just, because the suit was with Batwing made the suit for him to use in an issue, and they just kind of like unveiled it. It wasn't like because Bane broke.
No, sorry. Like, did he replace him after Bane broke his back? Like, is that still canon? Like, was Batman at one time broken?
They mentioned it recently in the book that Bane did break his back, but nothing was said about who took over when the back was broken. But it has been mentioned, so I'm assuming that part is still within the timeline.
Okay,
but I don't.
All right.
But like I said, when they unveiled the suit, it was the first time they saw it, so it's kind of confusing. It's kind of like that gray area.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Okay, so my one thing that I want them to do, I kind of alluded to it. Fix this Red Robin suit, man. Like, I get Batman needs Robin. Who's his Robin? Is it Damian?
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, what's wrong with the Red Robin suit?
That stupid R looking thing, dude.
The double R?
Yeah, it just doesn't look like it's designed. It's just like, we don't know what to do.
It's a quick fix.
Yeah, and I prefer the R looking bird logo from the old Red Robin suit. I think that one looked cool.
That wouldn't be bad. I mean, there was one issue where they were talking about it, and he intentionally says, he's like, look, I don't want to be Robin. He's like, they just called me Robin, but I've been Red Robin for years. I don't buy that either. Like, he's always been Robin. That was a New 52 thing. They're like, oh, he wasn't Robin. He was Red Robin. I just don't understand. You're wearing a Robin suit. You don't want to be Robin, but the whole point of Tim Drake was to prove to justify
Batman.
Damian.
Yeah, but the whole point of Tim Drake was to be Robin. Like, he explained to Batman needs a Robin.
Yeah.
And he wanted to be him. And so he's saying now, like, I never wanted to be Robin. I just wanted to be a guy who wore green pants.
He wanted to be a version of Robin.
A version. Okay.
Almost say John Blake.
I'll have to check it out. I'm not John Blake. John Blake is not Robin. I don't care. I'm hosting today, and I will just state it today.
Where is Rick?
It's officially said on Batman on Film episode 102.
In the 102 Earth 102 of Batman on Film.
It's not Robin. Earth 102.
John Drake is not Robin.
Earth 102. John Blake is not Robin. He's not Robin. He's not Batman. He dies in night 2. He slips, and that's it. All right. So
I'm pretty sure he slips in the
He
back.
fell in the cave.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He drowned. Hit his head.
Hey. His movie's called The Dark Knight Sinks.
It was a short film, about 30 seconds.
All right, so this will get cut out. All right, so Ryan, now I know you're pumped because you kind of alluded to it a little bit. I think I know where you're going to go.
Metal.
So tell me about your favorite book.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, dude. Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like,
Oops, that was cruel.
No, are you not okay? So are you not liking DC Metal?
Which one do you want to go with first?
I want to end with White Knight.
Perfect. Okay.
Let's end.
So I'm reviewing DC Metal, and it's actually hilarious because Pete sent me a personal message not too long ago that even said, "Dude, you hate metal. I can just see it in your reviews." And I'm like, "No, that's not what I'm trying to do," because I don't like to just crap on anything that somebody's done. The fact that somebody can take a shot with something crazy is pretty, like, it's inspiring enough. Like, good for you. And metal is starting to feel like it's something that I'm in the minority of. It's just not clicking with me. And I followed along with the Dark Days, the casting and the Forge, and then those first 2 issues of Metal where I was just like, okay, this is nuts, but they've planted enough seeds. I think now it's time to start to pay it off. And then issue 3 came out, and I said, what the hell is going on? And I reread it, and I just I can't follow it. And then I've stuck with reading the one-shots. The one-shots are, I think, all of them are phenomenal. Awesome. Every single one is awesome. And I think it's because, for me, they can play as just a great one-off Elseworlds tale where anything can happen, and it's kind of like nothing. The writers and creators, they're not limited to anything. They can just go crazy. As I think the Batman Who Laughs showed, anything is game. And I think that's great. And then that Batman Lost issue came out, and it's just not clicking with me. I think what I enjoy about Batman stories, at the core, Snyder's put some of that in there, but it's really leaning. I think the biggest thing that stuck out was that Batman Lost issue, where it almost seems like, once again, I think Grant Morrison dipped into this, and that's what turned me off 10 years ago with the Batman RIP and the Batman or the Return of Bruce Wayne, of him being Batman was planned. There's some supernatural force that has, we're going to pick him, we're going to make this happen, and it's all going to equal to where you are Batman. And on paper, this Barbados, whatever, he says, in that Batman Lost issue, he says, I was the bat that flew in that night. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But just what works for me is that he's inspired by this tragic event that him and his family were in the wrong place, the wrong time, the wrong night. That's what drives him, is that guilt. Yeah. That's just what's always worked for me. And for something to say, for somebody to just come in and take credit. No, get out of here.
Mm. Yeah, man. I totally agree with that. I don't like this. I get that he's destined to be Batman. I don't like that it was long ago a demon bat, was the one who is the catalyst for him becoming Batman, the inspiration. It's just too much. You're adding too much to the mythos of something that was very simple and something that broke him. Like, whoa, his life changed one day because of a random act of violence. That's what's really cool about Batman. I don't know if I like that. It's all part of a grand plan, because then it becomes that, the idea that he's super bat, that he can do anything. And that's the thing, like, Batman can do anything in these stories because he's trained. This whole destined to be, I don't like it. And Metal's been really, like, I've been enjoying it because it's really honked up and weird, but it hasn't, it's not the book I thought it was going to be. It's more of just like really crazy and really off the wall, and it's been fun. But every time I process it, I'm like, right now I just want it to be over. Yep. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. I'm enjoying other books better. Like Batman 36 again. I'm gonna keep pumping that book up. That was just a way better Batman story. It's a different Batman story. Metal's not bad. It's just where's it going, man? Like I don't want this story to be
more than Metal.
Yep.
Like I went right on that. Like the
we'll get
drowned.
We can get to one.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to get there in a second because I just want to finish the thoughts on the actual series. What I want is for it to at least contribute to something. And if it's going to contribute more of this, like, Barbados stuff, then I don't need any more of that. I want something that when this story's wrapped up, there's not a bow on it. Like it adds to the mythos, like where's Batman going to be after this? Is this going to change him? Is this going to change the characters? Right now, it feels like it's just kind of weird, almost Return of Bruce Wayne feel. That's what I have with it, and they're kind of tapping into some of that too.
The one thing I did take out of Metal was there was this one panel where Damian's driving this truck and like Wonder Woman's on top of it trying to get on, and he's just like talking trash to Wonder Woman, and I'm like, Damian's got balls, man. That kid always makes me laugh.
That's the fun stuff. That's the fun part of it. And I think so the counterpoint to that is it is a bunch of fun. It's crazy comics with Batman and all the DC characters. And I don't mind that. What I don't like is kind of what you were saying, Ryan, is it's starting to add all this stuff that doesn't need to be there. I think if it was a little more straightforward, I think I would enjoy it more.
I think also what do I want to say? Each issue has elements that I really like. So the example that Pete just gave of I don't like Damian, but I thought that moment of him driving the truck was great. And there's just like little moments like that sprinkled in every single Metal book that I really enjoy. But the overall point is that I feel like it is a Batman story and we're getting some cool horror elements and stuff, but then it's not clicking. And some of it also is when they like the whole anti-monitor thing, I am clueless because that's kind of a turnoff for me sometimes with comics. So I have no knowledge on that. I'm like, okay, that part, it's going to click with people that follow it and enjoy it. I'm not familiar, but in the end, it doesn't matter. It's like, does it work for you or not? And I'm like, it's not working for me now.
Yeah, the part that intrigues me more is the Nth Metal stuff and Hawkman. I'm a big Hawkman fan, and so I'm really hoping for a good return because that character has just been abused, man. And Jeff Johns brought him back in the JSA early 2000s, and it actually made sense. Like he was able to take all the convoluted Hawkman history and make it work. And then he had a really good book for a while there, and then they did that whole Brightest Day deal where they killed him, and the New 52 came, and it sucked. It was like the Savage Hawkman Rob Liefeld book, and I was just like, he just hasn't been the same since the mid 2000s, and I'm hoping out of this we get a good Hawkman story.
In the casting in The Forge, those flashback moments that they had with him, I thought those were awesome.
Yeah,
is he coming? Because what they're doing
that's
here,
what I'm saying.
This is great. Let's get to this.
So what they're doing is how they just did the Batman Lost? They're going to do a Hawkman Found issue coming out. I think it's in another month or so. Yeah, so Hawkman Found's coming out. So that's what I'm hoping that's the one that gets me like, I mean, it's not like I'm not on board, and I've been enjoying the issues. Like we've been I'm giving them. So we've been reviewing them on the Let's Go Comic Show, and overall we like the issues. It's just let's get somewhere, and I'm hoping Hawkman is a payoff, but I don't know if it's I don't think Hawkman is the overall payoff for DC Metal, but I think they're telling a story, and I want to.
Grant Morrison's supposed to be writing some issue, I think that's in February, and I'm like, oh man, geez, that's not.
Are you guys?
Just because?
Are you guys checking out the?
I was sorry. Really quick. I was just going to say because of how this is reminding me of the Batman R.I.P. and the Return of Bruce Wayne 10 years ago, and that kind of taste that Morrison left in my mouth. It's like, oh, he's coming back, and where this has gone, it doesn't get me excited, unfortunately.
Yeah. He can be hit or miss. I'm just kind of we'll see what happens. Okay, so are you guys listening at all? Like Scott Snyder made a playlist on Spotify for DC Metal.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he did. It's funny. It's just DC Metal, and It's just a whole bunch of random songs. Some of them don't make any sense to me, but it's just interesting to see the songs that he picked for this. I mean, he personally picked all of these. They're not all metal songs, but it's just interesting to see what he put on there. So just check that out. Little bonus for you guys who have a Spotify account. Just search DC Metal, and there is a whole playlist of
the metal
songs.
Soundtrack in my head is what you and your co-host have done on the Let's Go. We were like, metal. I was like, yeah, rock it out. There we go.
I'm like, I want to make a metal playlist because some of this I don't agree with Scott Snyder. But anyways, all right. So you brought up the little side stories, and I've read 3 of them, and the Batman Who Laughs is the most messed up comic I've read.
I love it. It's so awesome. I love the origin of the Roblins.
You are dark, Peter.
I call them like, oh man.
It was something like I've never read anything like that. It took everything we love and know about Batman, and it just twisted it on this crazy acid trip. And you're like, whoa. And for me, it's like my favorite book of the year, which is kind of why I said earlier, like the best Bat books waited till the end. Like that's one of them.
It was really good. But I think what I ended up saying was I don't want to read it again. But it was good. But it was like one of those bad things you have to watch.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I have to watch this terrible like thing on the news to learn about how to be better. And it was absolutely like, it was heart wrenching. I'm glad the art was not as realistic, because I feel like if it was, it'd be even darker. Like they had a real like cartoony, like artist, like looking art, it wasn't straightforward. Like,
I really like what he did with the Batman. Like he was just so eerie throughout that whole book. It was really great.
Yeah, it's just like a Marilyn Manson video.
It was great. Like, and seeing how like almost like the Joker gets the best of Batman in the end is very interesting. And you're kind of like, okay, thank God this is an Elseworld tale, because like if it was like main continuity, I'd be like, no, I don't like this, but because it's something else, you're like, okay, this is cool. Like this is different, and I appreciate that.
So yeah, it was good. Did you have any other ones you guys are into? Or Ryan, what were your thoughts on that Batman Who Laughs?
Oh, I loved it. I thought like it was so twisted. Who did the art for it? Riley Rossmo. And he did the Batman the Shadow crossover series this year. And I thought that was really good. And I thought his art was really strong in that. And here it just fit perfectly with the story. And I thought what really sticks out in my head was you turning the page in the Batcave when Batman turns around with guns and just annihilates the Bat family. Like, what?
Yeah, that hurt.
And then also when he gave the black kryptonite to Superman, and you don't see, but you see like it wasn't crunch, but whatever the noise sound effect as Superman's just taking out Lois and his kid. And that was just like, those two things just stuck out. I'm like, oh my gosh. It was... and not great moments, but it was just kind of like, wow, this has happened in a Batman comic. Great.
Yeah. It was definitely, that was a heartbreaking panel, man. Again, all off screen.
Oh, totally. I agree.
You just felt like, oh,
my jaw dropped. I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, it was, man, that comic, dude. The other one that I liked was the Batman the Merciless, the one by Tomasi. I just like Pete Tomasi. I like guys named Pete.
Hey.
But my man. Yeah. So Francis Manapul did the art on that one. This is the Wonder Woman one where he's, Francis Manapul, man, that guy.
I loved his Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got to meet him one time. He did a Hawkman a watercolor sketch for me. It was awesome.
That's cool. I like watercolor stuff.
Yeah.
Go. I was gonna say like the ones that really stood out for me were The Drowned, I believe that's what it was called, and what is it? The Dawnbreaker. I really liked the Dawnbreaker. Okay. That was a really cool one. That was the Green Lantern.
That one really.
Yeah, I haven't read. I just read the Flash one, and
the Dawnbreaker is what really got me invested, because the first two, the Flash and the Cyborg ones, they were okay. I was like, oh, those were fun little one-offs.
Yeah.
And then Dawnbreaker, because I just Ethan Van Sciver, I think. Sciver, his art is just, it's one of the best. And I go, okay, let's get into this. And then I read it. And
he's really
holy
good.
Crap. And from then on, I thought they kind of just nailed all of them.
It's also the most Damien I've ever seen a young Bruce Wayne, if that makes sense. You know, kind of like just this angry young kid.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
It was very
That's where
interesting.
he gets it. Yeah, so I feel like the little one shots are better than the main story.
Agreed.
I feel like I've enjoyed them more, but I haven't read all of them. I've only read 3, so I hopefully they put those in like a collected edition, and I can get them for $4 on the Comixology sale.
Next Black Friday,
that way,
$4.99.
Yeah, next Black Friday. There you go. All right, man. Let's move out of metal, and we're gonna end it on White Knight. I wanted to bring in Dark Knight 3 really quick. Pete, you haven't read Dark Knight 3?
No, I have not.
I just finished it. So speaking of Comixology, 2 weeks ago, they had a sale. So I got the whole thing for $4.99. I read it on my iPad. And overall, I thought the story was good. The art, man, I just didn't dig the art. And, so I don't know. I don't know what you thought, Ryan. Were you into it?
I'm kind of envious of your position and now Pete's position of you guys can sit and read it in one sitting. They were releasing the special hardcover editions of each issue, which is oversized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is how I'm going to get this book. And so I waited and I got that. But unfortunately, the book in classic Frank Miller style kept getting delayed. So it came out of the gate good and exciting. And I thought it was fun. And then all of a sudden you've got to wait 3 weeks or 3 months till the next issue. Oh, wait, this is on hiatus until 4 months and such.
It's like All-Star Batman and Robin all over.
Exactly. And so it kind of took towards the end, it took some steam out of it. And plus a way for them to give you your money's worth of that extra price. There was fewer pages, but then they just gave you a bunch of like black and white panels to fill. And I'm like, well, now you're kind of ripping us off to stretch this into some extra issues. But I thought it was fun. I think Frank Miller needs to stop drawing because those backup stories, the ones that he did, it just reminded me of The Dark Knight Strikes Again. And I was like, I can't focus on the words because this art is just so bad.
Yeah. Okay. So my question, were those backups in the issues?
Yeah.
Is that what those were?
They were actually kind of,
okay. I was saying, cause they were really
pretty cool because it was like a mini comic book, its own mini comic book stapled.
Okay.
They did one on Lara, right?
Yeah. They did one on Lara. That was cool. They all fit into they were great additions to the main story, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah. They fleshed out some of it.
Yeah. And they were just their own mini comics, a mini comic book. Like you could pull them out and keep each one as its own little comic. I thought that was pretty cool. But unfortunately, some of them, which thankfully they came with it because some of the characters, things happen in those little backups that was later referenced later on. And it's like, if you missed that backup for some reason, you'd kind of be like, where'd this come from? What's happening?
Yeah.
So at least they included it.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely thought the art was weak. And when Frank Miller just handled all the art himself, it was pretty bad. But even like the Kubert stuff, man, I know he was trying to mimic Frank Miller as much as possible. I didn't love the art, man. I didn't even love some of the costume designs. Just looked were just off to me. Wasn't a big fan of Flash's suit, Wonder Woman's like biker shorts, like a lot of biker shorts in this Flash had biker shorts and a Wonder Woman.
Is it the same Flash suit from Strikes Again?
I think so. The black with
he's wearing the romper. He's wearing a romper.
Yeah, he is. He's wearing a man romper, a flomper, a Flash romper. Like if you're running that fast, you need to protect your legs and your arms. So I think there's just a lot of visual things that didn't connect with me. And I was reading it on iPad, and and I do it through guided view, and so each panel's blown up, a little bit bigger, and so that probably reveals a lot of the weaknesses. But sometimes I like to do that just to enjoy the art more, and it was sloppy, dude. The whole thing was
story
sloppy.
itself, I think DC was just really milking the whole Dark Knight label, and the fact that they want to do a Dark Knight 4 by the end of this, I think I felt like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm done with this universe because it was about Batman, but there's still he wasn't present in some of the issues very much either. And it's just a whole, if you're going to call it something Dark Knight or Batman, he needs to be the star. He needs to be in it because that's what people are expecting. And there was a lot of other, which I liked some of the other stuff, including Superman and Wonder Woman and Flash. I thought something that they did with the Flash was pretty great. And by the end of it, I'm going to try and word this so that it's not a spoiler with Pete, but Justin, what did you think as far as the costumes for Batman and his sidekick at the very end? Like, I think it was like Action Comics #1, which is that little bonus at the very end.
I didn't like the costume at the end. I just, especially with the her new name. Let me tiptoe.
Guys, don't tiptoe. Don't even worry about it. It's funny.
It just felt very like all you did was invert colors. Like she had this really garish, like, Batgirl looking costume, and then it became, I don't know, man. It just felt very weak. Dark Knight, like you hit something, Ryan, with what it's become. It's no longer a story about Batman, but there's this Dark Knight universe. It's just like, what's this, jaded future of DC heroes? This is what it looks like in the future. And they kind of made it so that, Batman can still exist with these other heroes that, don't seem to age. They kind of put like a thing in there to make it so that, hey, this universe can go on a little longer, kind of reset things. And that is a little interesting to me, but I don't know where they can go next or where I want them to go, or if I want them to go there.
Hiatus.
It's like,
they should go on hiatus.
I'm like, man, every time you put one out, it makes the original like more diluted, like, man, Dark Knight was a great story.
Yeah, I mean, you look at everything they've kind of tried to put into this Dark Knight universe, All-Star Batman and Robin, Dark Knight 3, like it just kind of hasn't really worked. Dark Knight Strikes Again, like after Returns, it hasn't really worked.
I've learned to also just wait until...
I don't buy the whole All-Star Batman and Robin fitting in there.
Yeah, I don't think I do either. Right. It's its own mess.
Yeah. It never finished. Like, where does it fit? It's just there. So yeah, we'll never see that. Wait, watch. We're putting it out. They said they were going to finish it, and
I think Jim Lee. They said that they were going to continue it on into like a Robin only story with Jim Lee, and then that never surfaced. So okay,
yeah,
it's gone.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so let's get out of Dark Knight 3. Check it out, Pete. I'd love to.
Yeah, I want to read it. It's just that I remember Bill saying, he's like, wait for this to come out in trade. It's delayed. You're not going to enjoy this if you're reading it issue by issue. So,
and I wasn't spoiled either. I stayed away from spoilers, and
honestly,
it was better to read it.
I don't know if there's much to spoil it. Come by the end of it, there wasn't a huge revelation. Right. Sorry, Pete, another spoiler. You can. I just learned. No, that was the spoiler. There's no huge moment. I just think I learned if they do another one, I'm just going to wait till the very end, which they'll tell a 6-issue story and it'll take 2.5 years, but I can wait.
Yeah. And I'm going to transition into Batman White Knight just because usually a story that's going to span like 8 issues or so, I'm like, I'll just wait for it to be collected because if this is a good story, that's how you got to read this deal, sitting it down like big fat trade paperback and read that. And I saw a little bit of preview of White Knight and I was like, yeah, this is going to be really good. I'm going to wait. But I read that first issue and I'm freaking hooked on this story. This thing is fantastic. So Ryan, take us to the weird world of Batman White Knight.
I followed Sean Murphy on Twitter for I know that he's done some Batman work here and there before, and that's what caught my eye. But it wasn't anything. It was only art. It wasn't story or anything. And I thought, I like your stuff. It's not at the top of my favorite, but I'll follow. And I saw that he was teasing us with a Batman book that was coming out, and I thought, okay, I'm on board. I'll jump into any Batman solo story that's coming. And when that first issue came out, I'm like, oh, this looks cool. Oh, it's Joker. He's a good, okay, let's see how this, it was maybe halfway through that first issue. And I just about lost my mind. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is great. And then I finished it.
Yeah.
And he's hit every single note that I think that I wanted, but then I didn't even know that I wanted. And there's a lot of threads that he's weaving that, like, and it's very concise. With as much as he's put in 3 issues, I feel like it's very concise, and you know the story he's telling. Meanwhile, he's putting this in here and this in here and this in here. And the guy's known for his art, but it's like, this is a story that he's written, and he's just hitting everything, I think, perfectly. There isn't anything that I've read this year that tops it. He's just 3 issues in, and I don't know anything that's had this level of storytelling and visuals over a 3-issue run, you know? And I think he's treating all of his fans too by at least dedicating 1 page or 1 panel to a whole lot of little trinkets. Like that first issue, he basically just had, hey, here's Batman the Animated Series and Batman 89. Everywhere.
Yeah.
And that was just so fun to read the whole issue, but then to go back to that page and find this. And I'd taken a picture and just sent it to him and said, this is my favorite panel in most recent memory. And he even responded, glad you like it. Hey, did you spot this and this? And I'm like, no, I did not. Thank you, Sean Murphy. And this has been my reaction for every issue. And I don't think it's not like I'm just selling it and not really getting into the intricacies of each of the story itself. It's just, it's hard for me to try and talk about it fast without just being like, it's the greatest Batman book. Read it.
Yeah, there's definitely like layers to it, man. I would say issue 3 isn't as strong as the last few, in my opinion. Like, I was like, okay, it was still freaking good. Like, I'm not trying to say it wasn't. But they're definitely like using everything from the history. Like this whole, have you read it yet, Pete?
Oh yeah, no, I was just letting you go. Yeah.
Okay. So like these, there's 2 Harley Quinns, and it's interesting that one's kind of like that classic animated series version. And then there's one that's kind of like the new 52 version.
Yes.
And they're competing, and then, very like interesting stuff. The one thing I didn't like, it's because I'm a purist, wasn't too big on Jason Todd being the first Robin. Like, I didn't understand that.
See, that didn't bother me, because when they're in the graveyard and Barbara's like trying to like snap Dick out of his funk, I think that's really emotional. And she's like, he needs us. He needs a Robin, whether you call yourself Robin or not, to just not sink this far into his misery. And like, that really got me. And I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and I get that. I think it was just my canon brain, like wait, what? Because at first I was like, wait, is this Tim Drake and not Dick? Like, I kept racking my brain. Did they ever call him Dick Grayson? And then, I was like, yeah, this is Dick Grayson. So
I didn't like his leather jacket though, when he's on the motorcycle. That was my nitpick. I was like, this looks weird.
You know what it reminded me of? There was this really cool Elseworlds story about, maybe 10, 12 years back, called Thrill Killer. And it was Dick Grayson, Robin, and Batgirl. And it was kind of like in this weird 1960s era. Mm-hmm. And I forget the guy who did the art. I don't remember. And check it out. It was really cool. Anyways, it looked reminiscent of that story. I mean, that look and feel, like, of them being on some cool 1960s adventure team. Like, I just felt like it felt like a really weird movie that Quentin Tarantino would love. That's what it felt
Tarantino's
like.
Batman.
Yeah. Well, not that he would have made it, but it would have been something that inspired him. Like, I can see it being part of like one of those movies with oh my gosh, like Planet, what was it called? Anyways, the Grindhouse films. It felt like it was the Grindhouse
Planet
version.
Terror and Death Proof.
Yeah, like it would fit in with those bunch of films. So yeah, it was by Howard Chaykin and Dan Brereton, I think, and it just has a really cool look to it. And anyways, check that out if you want. That came out, I think it came out in the end of the 90s. So
one thing though, I think that's really cool in this book is like the Batman tax.
Yeah,
that the that the
yeah.
state government did. Like, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. And just how the Joker is, or Jack Napier is just really digging deep to just kind of like expose everything from the gatekeepers. And, it's just really interesting. It's really, really thought provoking. And, I have to say, like, I love this version of the Batcave.
Yeah. Oh man, those Batmobiles.
When Barbara's on that computer and you see all the cars, and there's the Tumbler, and there's the Anton First Batmobile, and there's Batman 66, and it's just, I love stuff like that. If you're going to do winks and nods,
it's a great combination of like Batman 89 and Batman the Animated Series. I think that's like a lot of the environments, especially that Batcave.
Yeah. Well, you know where his influences are coming from, and so it's cool to see that. I love, dude, this guy. If you've seen other stuff by him, he just draws machinery really cool. He did Punk Rock Jesus for Vertigo about a couple years back, and that's a cool book too. It's just really weird and honked up, and you just kind of the way he draws motorcycles. Punk Rock. It's just a weird story about the future and reality show that clones Jesus, and it's weird.
I'll check it out.
It's a weird story, but he wrote and illustrated that thing as well. But yeah, I noticed there's no Schumacher Batmobiles in here.
Aww.
Just
shame.
It's just, you know,
if the Batman and Robin Batmobile had a canopy, I would have liked it. It's so stupid having a convertible.
Gigantic convertible at that. I mean, that thing was probably the longest Batmobile in those movies.
I mean, just like that one scene in Batman Returns, it's like Batman's dead. You know, like if he had the Schumacher Batman and Robin mobile.
Yeah, right. It's like Mr. Freeze. All right. So Batman, Arkham, sorry, not Arkham Knight, White Knight. This is a book, man. You got to get it. It's going to be one of those books. I think when it's done, it's, 10 years from now, there's just a glut of, and that's not a bad thing, of Batman books coming out. And I feel like they've all been really good. Even Metal, like, which I think we're not all like super hot on. It's still fun. It's just not, at the level of, White Knight and the stuff that's coming out on the monthlies. But so many good Batman books. Like 2017 has put out a lot of stuff. Even stuff we haven't mentioned was the Dark Prince. Yes. Is it Batman the Dark Prince? Have you read that?
Yeah, I'm holding it in my hand right now. And
tell us about that.
It's a 2-part book. It's by the guy's name is Marini. I don't remember his first name, but it's really interesting because I think it's something like that. It's basically it's almost kind of like Superman Returns-y, like, because like this woman is almost trying to exploit Bruce Wayne for having his kid, and it's just a cool angle in it. Is
he like Batman floating outside of the houses and staring and watching her cook breakfast, or what?
No, I just meant like that part of it is just it's very interesting how it's something I've never really seen in a book. And the Joker is the Joker makeup. I'm not really feeling. It kind of looks a little ICP-ish to me. But no, just the facial makeup. It just looks a little ridiculous. But the story is really good. There's really good action scenes. I don't want to spoil too much because it's only a 2-parter. It's a 2-part hardcover. They're a bit expensive. They're $13, but it's a really cool story, and I really highly recommend it. I really like it a lot.
Why don't they just make just one hardcover? I don't understand. Like, do it for $30 and be done with it. Yeah, because they're going to do that.
I have no idea. I don't know how they justify how they release these things.
Yeah, money is probably like, oh, we'll buy it. It's a Batman book. People will buy it. So
I mean, it's hardcover, so I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Where do you rank it? Kind of like in the year, like.
Oh, like I said before, like I really do honestly, the best Bat books we've gotten have happened at the end of this year, and that counts. We're talking White Knight, Prince Charming, even Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2. That's only one issue deep, but that was a really fun read. I feel like it's more along the lines for guys like us. I feel like we've grown up with Turtles and Batman. I don't know if Bill and Rick are going to be into that book.
Yeah,
but
I bought the original, the first 6 of it, the first series, sorry, the one, and my kid was reading them and he was digging them. I didn't read too much. I read with them, but
Mhm.
part of me was it was just another book I just didn't have time to read. So
There's so much Batman
yeah.
out there. I mean, there's literally a Batman book for everybody. I mean, I think he's still in that offshoot Justice League series too, right? He's kind of like headlining that, isn't he?
Justice League. Yeah, I dropped that book. I read the first one, and I was like,
I don't
this
think
is
it's
dumb.
very good, but like he's just very exposed right now. He's everywhere.
Well, but that's always Batman. I mean, I think Batman is, as much as Superman's like the original hero,
He's the money.
Batman's the one. He's the moneymaker. I mean, Batman versus Superman. There you go. Like, yeah, it always comes back to Batman, and which is good. But there's a time where, like, man, it would be bad if all the stories were bad. Like if White Knight was not good, if Metal was bad, if Detective was bad. I mean, but all these books are good. Yeah. It's good output. Yeah. There's just a lot of it, and we live in a good time, because there used to be a time where not every Batman book was good. They'd put it out. You're like, well, this is crap. Like Legends of the Dark Knight became a really terrible book after a while. Yeah. Really
and
special.
Then there's something
and
like
was just,
Batman Creature of the Night, which just came out. I think it was like last week. I told Justin, like, dude, you got to read this. And it's
really,
well, it kind of reminds me of what Bill was saying about what the Shazam movie should be, how Billy Batson should be like a huge Superman fan within the DCU. And it's a story about a boy who loves Batman. It's kind of like set in like the real world. And, he loves Batman to the point where he calls his uncle Alfred, like he combines his like first and last name to one, and he makes his uncle call him Master Bruce. And this kid just loves Batman. And one Halloween, his parents are just brutally murdered in front of him. And, like there's a police officer, and his first name's Gordon. And there's just these little things, and it all comes together really nicely by Kurt Busiek and Jean-Paul Leon, and it's a really deep emotional book. And like I bought it, and like just by the cover, you're like, okay, this is a book about Batman, not necessarily a Batman book, but it really draws you in because you just feel for this little kid, and it takes you on this really nice ride, and it really pays off at the end with like this sort of just interesting mythical, like, is that Batman? Is Batman real? And it's really cool. I really suggest it.
Is it because it looks like it's a kind of a companion piece to the Superman Secret Identity that Busiek did?
I haven't read that, but I've been reading up on this because I really like this. So I've been doing my research now, and apparently that's exactly what it is. Yeah,
that looks pretty awesome. So is it a standalone? Is it a one shot, or is there more to it?
I don't know how deep it goes, but it says book one, and it definitely, I believe there is another issue.
I thought I read that there was going to be 4.
Cool. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I thought that there were 4, because it surprised me, especially as I was reading it. And by the time I got to the end, I was like, oh, I felt like it was a good capper, but then I saw that there's more coming.
Yeah. I was like, you weren't really expecting that to happen. You're like, oh, wow, okay, they did that. And it pays off, I think.
That'll work.
Yeah. So, again, more Batman stuff.
More Batman.
Good. All good comics. More Batman. And so what we'd like to do is, on the Batman on Film podcast this year, is do a little more comic shows if we can. There's not going to be a lot. I mean, who knows? Tomorrow there can be like, there's 7 people who are cast as Batman. Like, there's not a lot of like news coming out like this year. There's going to be, probably pops of information like regarding Aquaman and maybe the future of how they're going to be doing DC films. But it's going to be a quiet year probably on that front. And so we're going to try to bring in a little more, fan things and retrospectives, and probably hit upon some of the shows and stuff that have come out, like, animated series and things like that. And so
the good old days.
The good old days. And so we want to do a little more comic stuff, and maybe it'll be monthly or bi-monthly. And so it'll be good. Yeah. So let us know, everybody, if you guys enjoyed this comic show. I will apologize for any lack of energy. It was early at least for me over in Southern California. I had to be up at like 6 o'clock to do this, but I do it because I love Batman. Right? That's why we do this, brother. Yeah. Best superhero out there. I am Batman. Ryan has told us numerous times that he is Batman, which A, is not good if you're on a podcast. You don't tell anybody your secret identity. And B, I'm not buying it, man.
Buy it.
I'm just not. Yeah. So, but do buy all the Batmans. Nice. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, guys, now it's time to to wrap up, I want you guys to plug away your happy places. So let's start with Ryan. How can people find you?
Find me on
Batman
Twitter at Lauer_Ryan. Lauer spelled like lower. But usually I just tweet away. I'm still figuring out how Twitter works, but anything that I see of Batman, that's usually what I use it for, because I find there's just too much nastiness everywhere. That, like, let's just especially on Twitter, let's just have fun and tweet fun things. Yeah. And for me, that's just Batman. So
yeah,
hashtag
exactly.
Batshelf. Yes.
Hashtag Batshelf. There's a lot of fun stuff on there. Check that out. Pete is great at finding fun Batman stuff, like on Instagram and everything. He shows me all this stuff, and I get sucked into a world of like things I wish I had.
Justin so many messages without actual words. It's just pictures.
Just pictures.
I'm just forwarding things to Justin.
Like, what is it?
Oh, classic Pete.
Most of it's action figure related.
Yeah, it's just action figures or cool like Batman Returns artwork.
Yeah,
it's just
because until Justin, I didn't have anybody to send this stuff to. You know, like we love Batman Returns.
Oh man, I love Batman
Returns, and it's time to watch it because it's the season. Tis the season to watch Batman Returns. It is the holiday season.
Yep. Yeah, I'm so bummed I didn't get to do the commentary for Batman on Film. It was sad. I forget what I think I was sick or something was going on.
No, you were at work. I remember you got stuck.
Oh, that's right. I was at work. I could not get out of what I was doing. And so, but fear not, I'm going to do one for Let's Go Comic Show very soon for Christmas. So you'll hear my thoughts on
Love it.
Batman Returns. So there you go. You'll hear it there. All right. Thank you, Ryan. And appreciate. I'm an appreciator of you, and I'm glad that you're doing reviews for Batman on Film, and I'm glad you're on this episode, and we can't wait to have you back again. Pete, tell us about stuff.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Pete Illustrated. I know right now my timeline is flooded with Giancarlo Stanton stuff, and I apologize for that. It was a big trade. I'll get back to the Batman stuff today. You could also follow me on Instagram at Peter_Illustrated. And again, if you love Batman Returns art and action figures, or just check it up on when my latest reviews posted, I will post stuff on there. And I'm always good to talk to and just interact with, and it'll be fun. Let's have some fun on social media.
Yeah, you're a good social media user, because I always get the notifications, because we all run the Batman on Film Instagram, which it's been a little quiet on there. We've just been posting the show information, but yeah, you're good at tagging things and being an advocate out there. So you're a bat
banging the drum, as they say.
Banging the drum. So I wonder if Bill actually has a drum. We need to get him like a big drum with a bat logo on it, and he can just
like the little drummer boy.
We can make like
that could be his intro for his vlog now. Is just him on that drum, banging that drum.
There we go.
Great.
we can just make a GIF of from Batman, was it Batman Forever, where the guys on the big drums and where Poison Ivy comes out.
Yes, Justin, you're the illustrator. You're the illustrator.
No, you can live without it.
I can do something. We'll see what happens.
If you can Photoshop his face on every member of the Justice League, I don't see a problem here.
Oh, well, that's okay. That was just like I always did really bad Photoshops for people, like intentionally terrible for like birthdays. I just think it's funny.
I thought it was great.
If I have time, I'll make them happen. I made like one for Rick. It was like the Spider-Man Homecoming. I just put his head on everything.
I love Rick.
Oh, Rick! He's the jughead of Batman. Oh man, there you go. So yeah, we missed everybody today, Ryan and Rick and Bill, but it's all good. This was good. This was a good show that I hope everyone enjoyed. My name is Justin. You can find me on Twitter at J_Rocca. Don't ask me about that name. One day it'll be exposed. Until then, that's what it is. Follow me on Twitter, and you can engage with me, and we can talk about anything you want. Batman is always kind of at the forefront in comics in general. Check out letsgocast.com, where you can find Let's Go Comic Show, and which comes out about weekly, and then Let's Go Cast, which is I don't know when the next one's coming out. My partner there has been pretty busy, and so it's hard to get one out. But I'm gonna try to change the schedule up a little bit in January, so check that out. Batman on Film, authoritative,
the dadgum original.
The dadgum original. So what we need you to do, here's what we need you guys to do. A few things, homework and Christmas presents for us. Go to iTunes. This is where it counts. Leave us a 5-star review and some awesome words. We'd love to hear what you feel about the show. And we'll read some of those comments here on the show. And, coming in January, I think we're going to develop out some type of reward system. So people, please leave some reviews. We would love to read them and get us up on the charts in iTunes, because that's how people find out about the show. And that would be really helpful for us. And it takes you about 3 minutes and it costs you exactly nothing. So there you go. If you're on a budget, that's the best way you can help us out. Now, if you have a little more change and green in the pockets, we would love for you to partner up with us, because we're trying to make the show better in 2018, especially for Batman on Film 2.0 and Batman on Film 20th year anniversary. You want to do a whole bunch of fun new things, but we can't do it alone. We need our legions of Batman. You guys are all the mutants at the end of Dark Knight Returns, and you're all now teaming up with us. And what we need you to do is go to patreon.com/Batman on Film, and you can be a contributor monthly and say, hey, I want to throw down $1 or I want to throw down $5 for the cost of a DC Dark Knight Metal tie-in. You can help be a part of the Batman on Film podcast and help us make the show better with equipment and making it so that we can do some more video blogs and things like that. And there'll be some rewards. So it's not just throwing money down a drain. It's not in vain. You'll get on the Batman on Film train. Hey, some rhymes. May not be good. It'll be better than that. It'll be better than those rhymes. So there's different reward system. I think you can get some special shirts and some other stuff. We're going to develop that out more. So please head on over to patreon.com/Batman on Film, and you will be able to partner up with us. Be a part of Batman on Film. Don't just be a listener. Be a contributor. Be a part. So there you go. There's a little plug for that. And then also, everybody, get ready for Batman on Film 2.0. The new website will be launching in about 3 weeks.
I'm pumped.
So we've been working hard on that, trying to make, jump into the 2018s. And, you guys your articles will be on there so people can read, all about you guys. So it'll be a little more robust, and we're excited about that. So, all right, a lot of talking from me. I am done. Everybody, thank you for listening to the Batman on Film podcast.
Hey now, you've been listening to the Batman on Film podcast, a proud member and the sponsor of the Batman Podcast Network, batmanpodcastnetwork.com. You can listen to the BOF podcast on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, TuneIn, and wherever good podcasts like this one can be found. Want to advertise on the BOF podcast? Go to advertisecast.com/the Batman on Film Con podcast. Follow Jet on Twitter at Batman on Film and on BOF's Facebook fan page at facebook.com/jet.batmanonfilm. Email Jet via jet@batman-on-film.com. Follow Rick on Twitter at ShoeRick and on Facebook at facebook.com/BOF-Shoe. For Jet, Rick, Justin, and Ryan, I'm announcer Rachel. Thanks for listening.